Hello World on Twist, and thank God I get to do this Saturday night's main event review all the way from Madison Square Garden in New York City. If you enjoy WWE content and reviews like this, please subscribe to the channel because every week we do a Raw recap and review, and we do reviews such as these for PLEs. We also have WWE 2K26 content on this channel as well. Check out. Now let's get into the first match of Saturday night's main event. Started off with a title match. We get Screamo, Brie Bella Page versus Fatal Influence, who is Laney Reed and Fallon Henley, with their leader JC Jane as their manager. These I really don't talk about a lot of people involved with SmackDown, but these are SmackDown competitors. On SmackDown, they've been beefing back and forth. Fatal Influence, they've been trying to knock down all the veterans in the game because they're the rookies, you know. So we start the matchup with Laney Reed and Paige, and Laney Reed tries to do a little distraction, throwing away to it, but Paige stops it by hitting a big death press, takedown, multiple punches back and forth. She and them tags in Brie Bella in, and they hit a double code breaker onto her. That leads to Brie trying to get more offensive, but Laney Reed runs away, tags in Fallon Henley, her partner, and Brie instantly hits her with drop kicks back and forth. But then Fallon Henley fights back by hitting a big elbow into her. But Brie Bella finds a way to get a big knee in. She tags in Paige. Paige comes in the ring, hits a big knee on her as well, and they both hit a double bulldog on the Fallon. 1, 2. Kick out from Henley though. When Paige is trying to run towards Fallon, she tries to do a pin combo, but she gets caught, gets turned into a wheelbarrow slam right onto the rope, and then Laney Reed pulls down on the rope as well. That leads to them being in the corner with Fatal Influence, tagging back and forth, stomping on Paige, and then that leads to Laney then putting down Paige, stomping right on her head, and then putting a little choke rest hold. Paige finds a way to get up. She's trying to get back to her corner to tag in. They're fighting back off, but she gets away. She gets the tag on the Brie. Brie gets into the ring, clotheslines, grab him with a big Russian leg sweep. And she gets into the yes kicks. You know what I'm saying? Shout out D. Brian Danielson. Then she lands a big roundhouse kick on the Laney Reed. That leads them to both seated on the rope. She does dual running knees into both of them. And then a big drop kick to Fallon. Puts her down and goes for the pin. 1, 2. Another kick out from Fallon though. At least Brie then trying to get the yes lock in. Another tribute to her husband. But Fallon finds a way to get the rope. And then as she gets it from it, she runs to Brie and grabs her head for a big face buster, slamming her down. But Brie finds a way to tag in Paige. Paige gets involved in the match. Olay to the outside of the apron, but she reverses the attack from Fallon, drops her down, and hits her with apron knees back and forth. But then JC Jane jumps on the apron. She gets involved and allows her to pick up Paige, slam her down on the apron, and she tries to set her up for a moonsault with Laney. But as Laney's going for the moonsault, Brie Bella grabs Paige's leg, pulls her away. That leads to Paige going for the pin. But Fallon stops the pin. She gets rid of it. And then Fallon Henley hits a big clothesline on the Paige, knocks her down. Paige gets back up, and Laney Reed is running towards her, but she olays her. She hits shoulder first into the corner. Tries to hit for a roll. She hits a roll up then on Laney. 1, 2, but JC gets on the apron and flips over Paige. So now Laney's pinning her. 1, 2, 3. Big W for Fatal Influence. They find a way to get the belts off of Screamo. Enjoyable match. Very good back and forth. Good heel work. You know, I'm giving that match a 4 stars. Brie and Paige weren't supposed to be champions together. It was supposed to be Nikki, but she hurt her ankle at WrestleMania. So they just been like throwing stuff at the wall, hoping to see if it sticks. I thought they would have got broken up around SummerSlam, or at least with Nikki being involved, but she's not. So shout out to Fatal Influence getting their first main roster belts. I wonder what belt JC Jane is gonna get next. Either she's probably gonna get the U.S. next to have them all champions on there. Then we get to our next match of the night, and it is a no DQ match. We have JD McDonough with his boy Dominic Mysterio versus Danhausen, aka NyiXHausen. On Raw, they've been having a lot of beefs back and forth because Danhausen basically took $100K from the Judgment Day, and they want their money back. And so that's why when JD and Don walk out, they have the jersey gifted to Danhausen by the Knicks, and and Danhausen pops out, and he pops out with a stuffed cat, that he's gonna use later on in the match, which is pretty funny. And we get into the match. It started off with Dan trying to get the U-R curse on JD, but JD instantly did that. He said, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that at all. I'm not dealing with that at all. And that leads to Dominic getting on the apron, holding the jersey, distracting Danhausen. And that leads to JD taking advantage, hitting him in the back, put him in the corner, hit him with big chops back and forth, stumps. He gets him to the outside of the ring, throw that man back and forth into the barricade, throw him into the ring post. Then he get that man and slam him on the table. And then he said, you know what, Dom, get you one in. And then slam him on the table. They just slamming him back and forth on the table. Then JD grabs Dan, puts it back in the ring, hits that man with a big vertical suplex. Then he gets in the middle rope, hits an elbow right there. Boom, 1, 2, kick out from Dan. But then they cut to a camera of Dominic using the jersey to wipe his shoe with, which is hilarious heel work. And then that leads to JD now in the ring, hitting big, strong Irish whips to the corner on Danhausen. But Danhausen, he's fighting back. He's getting punches in. He gets him in the corner. He goes for the 10 punches. He had 9. Boom, he's finna get the 10th one. But JD drops down, pulls his leg, slams him down right there. And he picks him up, hit him with a brain buster. 1, 2. But Danhausen ain't going. He ain't leaving like that. That leads to Dominic saying, hey, man, hands him the jersey. And JD wipes his eye with the jersey. Then puts it on his chest for Danhausen and tries to go for a moonsault. But Dan gets out the way. He dodges out the way. Dan then proceeds to put the jersey on. Hilarious. And then when JD smacks that man, and he's smacking it back and forth, but Dan not going. He going, boom. He reverses the punches by Dan. And then he finishes off with him with a big reverse atomic drop right to the den, right into a big clothesline. And then Dom get into the ring. He hit that man with a Northern Lights suplex, slam that man right down. Then JD tries to roll him up for a pin, but he kicks out of it. JD now with the advantage, he grabs him. He tries to go for the brain buster again, but but Danhausen flips him midair right into a big stunner. 1, 2, but kick out from JD this time. And then Dom has had enough. He gets into the ring. He starts attacking Danhausen from behind. He's going to both start jumping him back and forth. And then Dominic even holds up Danhausen so Dom can get a big headbutt back and forth on that man's head. Crazy. And then they grab the jersey off of him and start ripping it off of his body. They say, hey, boom, push him. Get the tables. JD and Dom go outside to look for tables, and as they pull out a table, it's a mini housing. A mini housing is on the table, which leads to a bunch of mini houses popping out, and they jump on and attack JD and Dom. They're getting the advantage at first, but then the Judgment Day, they lock in, they grab them, they start pushing it back and forth, they slamming them into things. But with the distraction, Danhausen has ran all the way to the stage with his clone machine, and he grabs the stuffed cat. And he puts it into the cloning machine. And then Karl Anthony Towns, the starting center of the New York Knicks, pops out of the cloning machine. Hilarious. Use a cat. Karl Anthony Towns, his nickname is Cat. And the cat was black, which made it funny. He gets into the ring. He grabs JD, chokeslam that man. And then he grabs Dominic and chokeslams him on the table. Then at least the cat, then cursing JD, and then Danhausen hits with the DDD, not the titty, the Danhausen death drop. 1, 2, 3. Danhausen gets the W. Shout out to Cathausen. That match is a 5-star match in the sense of being goofy. In general, it's probably like a good 4-star DQ match, but Danhausen doesn't have a real scale when I do his matches because they're all goofy and they're all hilarious. I loved it. And I also loved how like Danhausen had the Knicks colorway on and JD was wearing the Pacers colorway. I don't like seeing the Pacers lose, being from Gary, Indiana, but I love the symbolism, pretty cool. Then we get on to our third match of the night, and it is a grudge match between Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. They had this breakup with the relationship after losing the tag team title match. Lyra's like turned dark, she's turned edgy, and she wants to get rid of Bayley for once and for all. And so they start off with a big tie-up back and forth. Bayley pushes her all the way to the corner, the ref separation, slapped the taste out of her mouth, And then at least them fighting back and forth. And then Lyra grabs her, slams her down on the ground. And as she slams her down on the ground, Bayley gets up and pulls her legs down. They start punching back and forth, back and forth. Lisa then punching onto the apron. And as Bayley's attacking her on the apron, she hit her with a boom! Big elbow, breaks her nose. And Lyra she instantly leaking. She leaking instantly on the ground. I said, ooh, I thought she hurt her teeth at first, but she hurt her nose. She broke her nose. And then the ref get involved. He said, man, we gotta make sure she ate everything right. But before that, as that's happening, Lyra gets up. She starts fighting back and forth, back and forth. But then Bayley grabs her and then slams her back onto the apron. And then gets her into the ring. But Lyra fights back by hitting her big arm apron pull, slamming that down right there. Then you see Lyra taking advantage. Now she's grabbing her, slamming her back and forth into the mat. Then she picks her up, spears her into the corner, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But Bayley fights out of it and then does a strong Irish whip into the corner. She does like a Shawn Michaels type selling flip over the corner. That leads to then Bayley then hitting her with a big suicide dive. She gets her back into the ring. 1, 2, kick out from Lyra. That leads to then Bayley trying to get more damage on her. She goes for an Irish whip, but Lyra reverts that into a big hip toss, slamming her right down, and then standing up and then falling right down with a big knee on her face. Nasty. She tries the Irish whip her in the corner, but Bayley reverses it, throws her in the corner. She runs towards Lyra. Big boot by Lyra. She drops her down and then stands on her head by using the ropes. But Bayley fights out of it. She's striking back and forth. She Irish whips Lyra and then hits her with a big back body drop, slamming her down. Then leads to Bayley then Irish whipping Lyra again. But Lyra turns that into a flip over pinning combo. 1, 2, kick out from Bayley. But as she kicks out, she grabs her and turns that into a big Boston Crab. She's wrenching down her leg. Lyra bloody nose and everything. But Lyra finds a way to flip over, pushes her off of her. Now she's near the apron. And Bayley, taking advantage of that, grabs her over there, hits her with a stunner on the apron. She tries to go to the top rope, but Lyra stops her at the top rope, puts her down, and then grabs her neck and does a big neck breaker while standing on the apron right on top of it. Nasty spot right there. Then she puts Bayley in between the middle rope and the apron, and Lyra goes to the top rope, does a big top rope leg drop right on her. 1, 2. Kick out from Bayley. Yeah, they was cooking. They was going back and forth in this match. Crazy. The leads them getting back up, now going to a big strike exchange between the women. They're going back and forth, punches, slaps, chops, everything. And then that leads to Lyra getting a big advantage off her combo. She tried to go for a spinning heel kick, but that gets caught by Bayley. She turns that into a big back suplex, throws her, and then hits her with the sunset corner bomb, slam her right down. She tries to get the match over going for her rose plant, but that gets reversed by her. Bayley hits the rope, but hits right back down with the Lyra, grabs her, and then drops her down into a crossface, and she's hitting the crossface right over her nose. I know that shit hurt. But Lyra finds a way to get up out of it and tries to go for Nightwing. But Bayley reverses that and then grabs onto Lyra's waist. Lyra runs towards the rope, using her momentum to have Bayley hit her throat on the rope. She then starts monologuing to Bayley, upset, like, say, you did this to me. You did this to me. Bayley not going for that, grabs her, tries to go for the Bayley to Bayley, but that gets reversed by Lyra because she drops her down and then hits a new finishing move, a big chokehold, wrenching on that thing. And that girl Bayley then passed out, man. Crazy back and forth match. Big props to Lyra doing that match with that broken nose. What's up with Irish women in WWE getting their nose broke and cooking? You know what I'm saying? Is she the next Becky? Who knows? But I wonder what this is gonna be next for the feud. Like, I feel like you gotta keep the feud going if her nose got broken, but maybe not, because like she might have to take some time off or something like that. But what's up with Bayley? Is she gonna leave? I feel like the way she keeps losing these matches, it's looking like she might be leaving, going to AEW with Mercedes, her best friend. But who knows? I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a great match. I give it a 4.5 stars, almost 5-star level. You know, it got a little slowed down. It was a little slowed down in the beginning, and then especially after the broken nose, but they turned it back up and got into it. And then after the match, though, Lyra grabs Bayley, throws into the ring post, goes for the chokehold again on the outside of the ring. Then she get over the stairs. She take the top stair off, grabs Bayley, and then hits a Nightwing right on the steel steps, breaking that back right there. So It might be over, man. It might be their way of saying Bailey gone. I don't know. But I hope Bailey not going out like that. Then we get into our last match of the night, but it's not the main event, funny enough. And it's funny because it's featuring the WWE Champion CM Punk teaming up with his challenger at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes, and his potential challengers of Gunther and and Sami Zayn. Also, I forgot to mention why this match is happening. Uh, this match is happening because if Gunther and Sammy win, the SummerSlam match would be a fatal four way. I forgot to mention that, but it would be a fatal four way match if Gunther and Sammy win. That's why it's very important. They got right into it to start the match off, big brawl back and forth, but it then balances off to leading into Punk and Sammy starting off in the ring. Punk has the advantage, grabbing Sammy's arm, pulling over to his corner, tagging in Cody. Cody goes to the top rope for the assisted axe handle right onto Sami Zayn. Then Cody now getting the arm manipulation on the Sammy again. He goes over to his corner, tags in CM Punk. CM Punk goes to the top rope again for another axe handle between the men. At least all with a double team because CM Punk pushes Sammy in the corner. Gunther gets involved, holds Punk so Sammy can get punches in. And then Gunther gets involved, big chops to him in the corner. Then he takes him to the outside of the ring, grab that man for a big back suplex on the barricade. And now he's in the apron now, talking mess, saying, Punk, get in the ring, telling the ref to count. The ref is out about like 4 or 5. At least the Cody jumping down from his apron, grabbing Punk, throwing that man in the ring to break the count. And Samuel instantly gets the ground strikes back and forth on the Punk, and he actually looked like he bloodied that nose up too. What's up with the bloodied noses today? And he picks him up, and then starts letting his own version of his Gunther chops back and forth. But Punk finds a way to fight back off him. He gets Sammy off him, goes to the top rope, hits a big double, hits a big cross body on the Sami Zayn, that leads to a double down. You know what that means? Hot tag. Cody gets in, big running elbow on the Gunther, and then he hits it with. Then he goes into the corner. Gunther runs over to him. He jumps over that man right into the big Randy Orton power slam right there. Then he jumps off the middle rope right into the disaster kick to Sammy getting involved in the ring. He said, jab, jab, jab. Oh, shout out Dusty Rhodes, bionic elbow onto that man. And then he, at least the Gunther trying to take advantage behind Cody's back, tries to pick up for a suplex, but he flips out of it. And then Cody punches Gunther and then hits that man with a middle rope Cody cutter. And he's still geeked. Sammy on the outside. He said, you know what? Let me get a little suicide dive on the Sammy on the outside. He get back into the ring and hit the top rope Cody cutter to Gunther. That gotta be it. 1, 2, but kick out from Gunther. He's not going out like that. But after the kick out from the Cody cutter, he tags in Sammy. Sammy gets to the ring and then runs past Cody Rhodes to knock down Punk, which leads to him trying to then hit the blue thunder bomb on Cody, but Cody reverses that and then tries to drop down for the crossroads, but that gets reversed into the roll-up pin by Sammy. Another kick out from that right into the big blue thunder bomb right over to Cody Rhodes. 1, 2, kick out from Cody. Sammy then seeing Cody in the corner, he tries to go for the haluva kick, but that gets dodged by Cody Rhodes. He ends up tagging in CM Punk. CM Punk gets into the ring to the top rope, hitting a big clothesline on the Sammy, and then hitting that vintage spinning neck breaker. Get that man in the corner, big knee right into the bulldog. You know how that go. He goes to the top rope, hit that man with the Macho Man elbow. 1, 2, kick out from Sammy, but he go right into the Anaconda Vice. He wrenching on that thing. And then at least the Gunther trying to get involved in the match, stopping the submission, but Cody stops him. He drops him down, and hits that man with the figure 4. Now they doing their moves in stereo. At least the Gunther going to Punk while they're down and thumping him in the eye. He say, Sammy, get Cody. Cody gets attacked by Sammy after that. That leads to them Sammy getting up, grabbing Punk, hitting a big exploder suplex on the corner. At least then Cody getting involved, hitting a crossroads on the Sammy, and then Gunther getting involved in the ring and hitting a big clothesline on the Cody, and then Punk gets up and it hits a GTS on a Gunther, at least to a quadruple down. All the men are down. Sami Zayn finds a way to tag in Gunther. He gets into the ring, sleeper hold on the Punk. He's jamming on, but Punk slips out of it, hits the sleeper hold on to him, and then Gunther finds a way to throw Punk off of him. He crashes right into Cody Rhodes, who's on the apron, and then at least to get the sleeper hold back in on Punk. But as the GTS is stopped, Punk tags in Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gets into the ring and hits Gunther with a big crossroads. He's going for the pin, 1, 2, but Sammy stops the pin, but in the process, he hits the ref. We got a big ref bump down. That leaves Punk getting up, hitting the GTS on the Sammy. Then Punk and Cody get multiple strikes back and forth on the Gunther. And then as Punk is holding Gunther to him to do the Cody cutter, Gunther reverses out of it, dodges out the way, hits a big boot on the Cody Rhodes. And then with everyone being distracted and down, Gunther goes to the outside and grabs CM Punk's WWE Championship, grabs it, hit that man Cody with it, pick that man up for a powerbomb. He go for the pin. He said, give me a ref out here, man. They running down. The ref slide into the ring. 1, 2. Nope. Nick Aldis, the SmackDown general manager, who Gunther has been beefing with back and forth, has just snapped and said, I'm going to interrupt your stuff. He stopped that, and then he grabbed the belt and hit Gunther with the belt, which leads to Punk getting up, grabbing that man Gunther, hitting him with a GTS, and then he dragged Cody Rhodes to put his body on a Gunther. 1, 2, 3. Good W for Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. I give this match a 5-star. Perfect last match for the show. You know, we got the interference and the shenanigans and everything, but it works out when you got 4 masters of their craft in the match. So we're gonna have the 1-on-1 between Punk and Cody, and it's looking like Gunther is gonna be fighting Nick Aldis at SummerSlam, because ain't no way you gonna keep costing that man, and y'all not gonna scrap. But Sami Zayn's the odd one out. That sucks for Sammy. It's nothing for him to do. What is he gonna do at SummerSlam? But overall, I really enjoyed that match, and I was slightly impressed from this PLE. You know, you see the match, you think, oh, they're not probably not trying to do the best, but like no one phoned it in. They tried hard. They cooked MSG, and the actual main event for the show was just Roman Reigns glazing Jalen Brunson, who was the captain of the New York Knicks, who won the NBA championship. He ends up giving him a belt, and then he's glazing him and everything. But then you hear, burn it down! But Seth Rollins doesn't come out. Who comes out is my captain of the Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, with a steel chair, just like Seth, at least to a distraction, where Seth comes in from the back and knocks down Roman Reigns. And it's funny because they're NBA players, they can't get involved. So like Jalen Brunson is just watching Roman Reigns just get his ass whooped, which is funny. And then that leads to him trying to put the chair up with Roman to do the curb stomp on it. But Jalen Brunson gets involved and says, nah, you ain't doing that. You're not doing that. He said, what? Seth, like, I will knock you down where you stand. And that leads to the advantage of Roman getting the distraction. Superman punch on that man into a big spear. That leads to Tyrese and Seth Rollins then walking away with the King of New York and the OTC in the middle of the ring, flexing their championships back and forth. So, cool little ending for New York, but let's be honest. That's not how you end a wrestling show. But it's New York, you know. New York gets whatever they want. It's the home of WWE, and it was fun to see. I just feel like that probably could have been the beginning of the show. It could have been the middle of the show, but I feel like ending like that is kind of crazy to me. But I don't book, you know. But overall, I enjoyed Saturday Night's main event. I thought it was really good. The matches were good quality, and yeah, I can't wait to see SummerSlam. I'm Twist, y'all, and remember, Jesus loves you, and to always keep God first. I'm out.